In this lesson, we will create an asphalt material that is perfect for mid-range and distant shots. The asphalt we create will have various puddle stains, patches, and tire marks. I will show you everything step by step.
My name is Nikita. If you want more useful videos on the topic of architectural visualization, put a like and subscribe on this channel.
We have this scene with a white Corona Physical MTL applied. You can download this scene with the ready-to-use asphalt material from the link in the description. We will also need a few textures. Here you can see a diffuse texture, several dirt textures, and 2 puddles textures. I will connect the asphalt texture to the base color slot, start an interactive render, and desaturate this texture using the color correction node. To quickly apply this node, I hold the left mouse button and Control key, then release the left mouse button. In the color correction node, I will set saturation to 0. I will make the asphalt tone lighter by switching to the Advanced tab and increasing the gamma contrast value. Next, I will blend this chain with the dirt textures using the Composite node. In the Composite node, I will add 2 additional slots. This node allows blending colors or textures using different blending modes, similar to Photoshop. I will connect the Composite node to the base color slot, placing the asphalt texture chain in the bottom slot and applying dirt textures to the other 2 slots. I will connect the first dirt texture, then adjust its tiling. I select the texture and decrease the tiling value. Then I return to the Composite node and change the blending mode to Multiply, reducing the opacity value. I will do the same with the second texture. Connect it to the next slot, adjust its tiling, and change the blending mode. I select Composite, switch the mode to Multiply, and adjust opacity. Now, let's create puddle stains using the 2 puddles textures. First, I will apply one of them. I select the Composite node, add another layer, and apply the texture to it. This texture needs to be enlarged. I select it and reduce the tiling value. Next, I need to invert this texture. This can be done in the Output tab or using the Color Correction node. I will use the Color Correction node, select it, and set the mode to invert. Then, in the Composite node, I change the dirt texture's blending mode to Multiply and decrease the opacity value. Now, I will apply the second dirt texture. For this, I need another Composite node. I select the new node, add another slot, place the previous dirt texture in the first slot, and the new dirt texture in the upper slot. I change the blending mode to average and apply this Composite node here. I also decrease the tiling of the new dirt texture. Next, to give our puddle stains a different shine compared to the rest of the asphalt material, I add our puddle stain chain to the base roughness slot. I select the asphalt material, scroll down, and slightly reduce the intensity of the puddle stain chain in the base roughness slot. Then, I need to create a new layer in my material, representing water with higher reflection in puddle areas. For this, I create a new Corona layered MTL. This material allows blending different materials using black and white masks. I apply our previous asphalt material to the base slot, and for layer 1, I create a new material. But before that, I apply Corona layered MTL to the geometry. I create a new material, apply it to layer 1, and for visibility, temporarily make it red. The mask for blending these materials will be the puddle stain chain. I apply this chain to mask 1, but need to invert it using another color correction node. I select color correction, choose invert, and now the new material will be shiny and transparent. I reduce roughness to a minimum and slightly increase refraction. I darken the material slightly, and now we have subtle, shiny puddles. Next, I want to create darkened edges on the asphalt material using the Corona AO node. I'm going to focus on our core material. I apply the Corona AO node to the base color slot and show how it works. I change the first slot's color to red for better visibility. You can see how the edges now have a different color. I increase the color spread value for a stronger effect and add irregularities by applying a dirt texture to this slot. I'll apply the dirt texture. I slightly increase the distance and decrease the texture scale. Now, instead of white, I apply our asphalt texture chain and I change red to dark gray. The result looks natural. Next, let's create tire tracks. I create a box in the viewport to demonstrate this method. I place the box in the center of the scene and disable its visibility by unchecking Renderable in Object Properties. Now, I apply a new Corona Distance node to the base color slot. I select this node, add the box object, and start an interactive render. You can see that the material changes near the object. I adjust the color inside to a dark color and add the asphalt texture chain to the color far slot. By adjusting distance far, I modify the tire mark shape. For color near, I add the asphalt chain through a color correction node to darken it later. The same node is applied to color inside. Now, adjusting the brightness and contrast in color correction, I control the intensity of tire marks. Now, I need to create several geometry elements in the form of strips that will represent tire tracks. This geometry consists of multiple splines with the sweep modifier applied. Let me show you how I created this geometry. I select the line creation mode and draw several lines in the viewport. Then, I select one of the lines, choose Attach, and merge them into a single object. I switch to Spline Edit mode, select all splines, find the outline parameter, enable the center option, and create offsets. Next, I draw a few more splines. The more diverse the splines, the more realistic the tire tracks will look. I select this corner spline, switch to Point Editing mode, select a point, and increase the fillet parameter. Then, I connect all the splines into a single object. This can be done quickly using the Quick Attach script. I talked more about scripts and plugins in 3ds Max in another video. I don't forget to delete unnecessary segments. To do this quickly, I disable this selection mode and select the end sections of the splines and delete it. Next, I apply the sweep modifier in bar mode and adjust the width and height of the box shape. Then, I right-click, go to Object Properties, and uncheck the Renderable option. In the Material Editor, I find the Corona Distance node and add this geometry to our node. You can now see the result. Our asphalt looks much more realistic. Using the Color Correction node, you can adjust the intensity of these tire tracks. Now, let's talk about decals. A decal is a special corona element that allows you to apply a separate material projected onto the asphalt geometry. I have some asphalt patch textures downloaded from Quixel Megascans or Fab. I go to the creation mode, select Corona and choose Corona Decal. I create a decal in the viewport. Then, in the material editor, I create a simple material, import the asphalt patch textures and set up a Corona physical MTL. I apply each texture to its corresponding slot. To use the Corona ambient occlusion texture correctly, I apply a composite node to the base color slot, create a new layer, place the diffuse texture in the bottom slot, and add the Corona AO texture in multiply mode to the top slot. You can now see the changes. I apply this material to the decal, select the decal, and assign the material to it. You can see the changes in the viewport. Now, let's check how it looks in the render. The decal is projected onto the asphalt. To reduce the displacement intensity, I adjust the bump parameter and slightly desaturate the material. Now, by moving and scaling the decal, you can achieve an even more realistic result. If you select the decal, you will see various settings. You can exclude objects from the projection. For example, I don't want my sidewalk to be affected by this decal. I click the plus button and select the object. I also duplicate the decal several times using Shift and the left mouse button. Additionally, I add some extra objects and road markings to enhance realism. These stripes can be created with simple geometry with overlaid material, but I did it all with the Road Markings Generator plugin, which I talked about in my video on scripts and plugins for 3ds Max. If the tutorial was useful for you, give it a like. You can download the scene from this video from the link in the description. Subscribe to the channel to don't miss new videos. See you soon!